He looked at the lighthouse every single day, even when the town below had long stopped looking up at the cliff, even when the port had closed the dispatch office, and the maps were updated to mark this light as inactive, even when the sign on the door had rusted through and the letters foreclosed were nearly erased by the salt wind. He still climbed those stone steps, counting each one, because his memory knew them by heart. His feet moved before his thoughts could, because he felt that if he failed to climb just once, something inside this world would permanently go dark. Sometimes it feels as though our efforts are invisible. But if you are someone who continues to do your work, even when no one is watching, then you know exactly what this story is about. The lighthouse was old, stubborn, with cracked glass and a lens that had not been polished in years. The metal groaned whenever the wind battered the tower. It felt as if the lighthouse itself was breathing, slowly, heavily, like an old man who simply refuses to be the first to die. He would open the door, brush the salt from his coat, and check the generator, knowing it was on the verge of surrender. And every evening, he lit the light that no one expected anymore, a light that was not paid for, a light that did not show up in any official reports, a light about which people asked, why? He often asked himself the same question, especially on those days when the sea was quiet and the horizon felt empty, when the calm lasted for weeks, and it seemed the ships had long ago learned to survive without old lighthouses and without old Len. We often seek recognition in the bright neon lights of the city. If this finds an echo in your heart, then perhaps we are searching for the same thing. He did not light the beacon for gratitude, and he did not wait for applause. He lit it because, many years ago, a light just like this one had guided him out of the darkness. He remembered looking at that flame from the deck of a shivering vessel and understanding, as long as the light burns, you are not lost. The town below lived its own life. Signs changed, new lights appeared, bright, neon, noisy, but not one of them looked out toward the sea, and not one of them was ready to stand all night against the wind and the rain, simply to be a guide for those who are unseen. And then, in a single night, everything changed. The sky darkened sharply, as if someone had yanked away a shroud. The wind struck with such force that the tower groaned. The waves began to rise, one after another, turning into walls of water. The storm came fast, without warning. Reperfuller 5, the sea became black, thick, and hungry. On that night, he climbed the steps again, as hands were shaking. The steps were slick with spray. Rain lashed at his face, but he lit the beacon anyway, even as he realized, if the generator failed now, it would be the very last time. And somewhere out there, in that ink-black fury, a small yacht had lost its way. The engine had choked. The engine had choked. The instruments had gone mad. People screamed through the gale, because fear is always louder than reason. They were already prepared to believe that the sea would win tonight. And suddenly, light, not bright, not modern, not perfect, tracks, but steady, tracks, warm, like a promise. A light that did not scream, but simply said, here, at sea through the panic. That flame became the point around which their hope gathered once more. They straightened their course. They held onto that light like a thread of life, while the waves hammered the hull, and the night tried to swallow them whole. The yacht passed. The people survived. the storm vanished just as suddenly as it had arrived. That night, more than just the people on the yacht were saved. On that night, the very idea of purpose was saved. I create these stories for those who keep their inner fire burning, despite the whispers behind their backs. If it is important for you to know that you are not alone in this quiet work, and stay with us, we need to stay connected. Write just one word in the comments. Glow. The Tilo. Let it be our sign. A sign that there are still anchors in this world. Because true light does not vanish. It is simply passed on. The Lighthouse. The Last Step. Part 2. Voiceover script. The waves rolled lazily toward the shore as if nothing had happened. As if the black water had not tried to steal lives. As if fear had not screamed in the darkness. The lighthouse stood silent, dark. The light never came on again, because the generator had finally died, because metal is not eternal, because everything that depends on a single person must one day come to an end. They found Lucas later. Not right away. He was sitting on the steps, inside the tower, leaning against the cold wall, looking as if he had simply decided to rest. His eyes were closed, his face peaceful, like a man who had finally allowed himself to stop. Doctors would say something about his heart, about his age, about the strain, but it did not matter, because the most important thing had already happened. Soft touch, connection. We often think we are replaceable, but some lights only burn as long as a specific heart is beating for them. If you have ever been that person for someone else, you know the weight of that silence. When the people from the rescued yacht climbed the cliff and saw the dark lighthouse, they stood in silence for a long time, because suddenly it became clear this light did not burn by itself. It was held by a man who did not wait to be noticed. A man who knew that, most likely, no one would ever say thank you. They wrote papers, discussed budgets, said that everything was automated now, that times had changed, that people like Lucas were the past. But the sea does not listen to reports. The sea does not read manuals. The sea only sees one thing, the light or its absence. And those who survived that night, every time they went out onto the water, searched not for the tower, but for the memory of that fire. A fire that did not promise salvation, but gave direction. Some of them later placed small lanterns on their own boats. Not because the rules required it, but because they finally understood. If the light disappears completely, it's not because it is no longer needed. It is because there is no one left to light it. The legacy. CTA. Lucas did not become a famous hero. No monuments were built for him right away. His name did not make it into the textbooks. But the light he lit, not for himself, outlived him. Because the real adult truth is simple and harsh. The world is held together not by those who are visible, but by those who continue to do their work, even when no one is watching. Final call to action. Sometimes, the only reward for this choice is knowing that someone stayed alive, and you, finally, do not have to climb the steps anymore. If this story reminded you of someone who was a Lucas in your life, do not let their light fade. Subscribe to our circle so we can keep sharing these anchors of truth together. And in the comments, tell us about your silent hero. Write their name or just one thing they did for you. Let us prove, as long as we remember them, the light is never truly gone, because true light is passed from hand to hand.